Welcome back to the channel, gamer. My name is Tacti. Today I wanted to talk a bit about the DMZ mode for Call of Duty. A data miner over there called, well, here's his name on the screen, released a couple different snippets of info at the end of September, and so now we've got some more insights into what the game mode is going to look like if these are to be believed. We've got some quests that we can get some info from, as well as some items that you can find in the game, so I'll link those down below so you can find that information and read through it all yourself. I'm just going to be talking here about the most important parts, and I also wanted to give my general thoughts and hopes for this game mode. Primarily, this channel covers hardcore and tactical shooters, and from what I can tell about this DMZ, it sort of fits that niche. Obviously, this is mostly speculation, but from some of the information here, it does seem like it's going to have a more tactical approach with the casual game mechanics of a Call of Duty title, and for that reason, I'm very excited about this. I'm a huge fan of the game Hunt Showdown, but the problem with that game is it's a bunch of cowboy weapons and it's a bit more sci-fi with the monsters and zombies and everything else. A really fun game for sure, but not exactly what I'm looking for. And then you've obviously got what appears to be the foundation for this extraction style game mode, Escape from Tarkov, but that's more of an RPG at heart than it is a tactical shooter with different skills that you have to level up, and it's too in-depth for a lot of people to really dive deep into. And then, of course, you've got Battlefield's attempt at a modern extraction game mode, and they've basically created a lifeless sprintathon. So now it's time for Modern Warfare to give it a go. I've got high hopes here, but we'll see when it gets here. You know, one of the things I was hoping for when it comes to the DMZ is a progression system more like Hunt Showdowns. The problem with games like Tarkov is that if you play longer, you're going to have better stuff. You're going to have better guns, you're going to have better equipment, your armor is going to be higher than everybody else's because you have access to it, and that can make it extremely difficult for a simpleton like myself to hop in a month or so after wipe because everybody's already ahead of me and rocking better gear while I'm still trying to get that dumb pocket watch. And that's just how the extraction progression is. But with Hunt Showdown, however, the system makes it a little bit easier. Sure, you unlock some stronger weapons as you level up, but with the systems and balances they've put in place, you can pretty much rock any weapon and not be behind. And there is no wipe. So there's really not the meta of gathering more gear than everybody else, at least not on a major scale. Yes, leveling up can get you a few better weapons and trinkets, but for the most part, I find it all to be pretty balanced. And then to go along with this in Hunt Showdown, when you hop into the match, there's either one or two locations on the map that are supposed to draw everybody to them. This promotes a pretty good map flow in my opinion. Engagements seem to be more in specific locations, so you always know where to go for some PvP action. And that's what I was thinking the DMZ was going to do. However, from the looks of these quests, if they're actually true, that's not the case at all. If all these data mine leaks are to be believed, then it looks a lot more like Tarkov than I expected. And my biggest concern with the DMZ mode is the giant map. Seeing the map with Warzone 2 looked huge. And with a game like Hunt Showdown, the maps are much smaller, much more compact, so they draw all those players to specific locations. And my biggest concern is with such a huge map and you're sending people on quests to different locations, is the map going to feel empty? Are there going to be rounds where I'm going to totally miss PvP engagements? I'm really hoping not, because I don't want to have to just hop in to face the AI that I face in that invasion game mode in the beta. They are not quite refined yet. That's probably the most polite way to put it. But anyways, moving on to these leaks here, there are some things that stand out. And again, I'll link this gamer's Twitter down below so you can see them. First and foremost here, it appears it's going to be a timed extraction game where you've got to escape before a nuclear warhead hits. It appears that's going to be the case. It looks like one of these lines is someone's armed a nuke. So it's possible that someone on the map can kind of intervene here and set it off early. But if I had to guess, I would say one way or another, the game is going to have a time limit. Otherwise, of course, you can just sit there until everyone's left, and then you can do your work there. And that's not exactly the point of extraction shooters. Moving on, there are apparently going to be keys that you can grab in order to unlock certain places for certain missions. There are lots and lots of keys, and there seems to be maybe a degradation of keys, maybe a limited time that you can use these, as you can see here. So to go along with this, some of these are going to be multi-step missions. You've got to grab the key before you can go somewhere else. They've also got here empty bottles of aspirin, broken glass, a watch. The information about it seems that these items have no value, but it may be linked to a bigger quest item down the road. It may be a way to continue a progression of storytelling in some way to one of the factions. So there will certainly be things here that you can place in your backpack that really have no use that we know of, unless, again, it's something related to the storytelling. Speaking of factions, it looks like there will be a couple different factions whom you'll receive quests from. In the data mine, they mentioned 2 different factions called Black Mouse or Moose, I guess. I don't know. So it could be like Tarkov that you'll choose your faction. The one thing interesting here is that you've got hunt contracts that you're supposed to eliminate enemies from the hostile faction. So are these factions going to come into play in the sense that you're going to see other people on the map and they're going to be friendly because there's the same faction? Just an interesting question that we'll see when it gets here. And then on the map, there appears to be some sort of bosses, the heavier enemies that you're going to have to kill. And then if I had to guess here, these enemies will be wearing Juggernaut armor. It just sort of makes sense with the Call of Duty style. They're going to be much harder to take out, and it's going to take a little bit of time. So you're going to have to hit them multiple times. Again, I'm guessing a Juggernaut here. There are these things called UAV towers, which is very interesting. I don't know how many towers are going to be spread across the map, but one of the quests is to hack these. It would be very interesting if they were located by major points of interest, like where the bosses are, so you can use these and then get a short boost so you can understand the layout a little bit better and where the AI are located and if enemies are approaching. One of the things I find very interesting here is first, you have to call in an extraction helicopter, but also that helicopter can be destroyed, at least according to this. I don't know if that's going to be a thing when that finally gets here, but if that's true, this could be a very, very frustrating experience, but also could lead to some interesting moments. If you cancel someone's extraction, what happens? What happens to them? Can you blow it up out of the sky, or is it a limited amount of time that you can destroy this helicopter before it takes off? I don't know, seems interesting. Maybe you have to hop into the extraction helicopter yourself and pilot it away, and if you get hit, well, then you have to find another helicopter. There's also going to be things like dog tags and cash to extract, as well as buy stations throughout the map. And then they're going to have certain weapons across the map that you can grab, and possibly some special weapons or some sort of blueprints there. It's going to be interesting to see the kind of loot that you're able to take out, and then what you can buy at the buy stations as well. Now, there are a lot of different quests, extract with a backpack, go kill this person, kill a certain number of people with headshots, kill a certain number of AI with headshots. Again, I'll have all these linked down below so you can sort of scroll through these. It's a pretty quick read, honestly. I just wanted to go over it briefly here and point out some things that stood out to me. Personally, I'm pleasantly surprised with some of these things. It seems to be a stark contrast to Hazard Zone, and it's all sounding really good to me. I'm glad that they're taking the route of certain quests instead of the bounty approach, because it's going to give the player a lot more freedom and playstyles and purpose to the game, maybe progress the story along a little bit better, and it'll be nice this way to have somewhat of a narrative to the gameplay. This is important because without a narrative or a storyline to follow, sometimes things can get a little dull for gamers. And it's going to be interesting to see how this integrates into Warzone 2. It's been said that Warzone 2 is sort of a branch off from the DMZ, so the foundation is the DMZ. So I'm wondering how those two are going to collaborate a little bit together and how you can maybe bring stuff over from one to the other. But again, though, here, my fear is that with all these quests available and people working on different quests, it really could limit the PvP engagements, but we'll have to see how the game plays out. I'm curious to see also how the environment works and how the sound will play out. In a game like Hunt Showdown, the environment cues are crucial to your approach. You can pull off that perfect sneak to take an enemy down, or your plans can be completely ruined by a flock of birds you didn't see just on your right. So I'm wondering if that's going to be a part of the game as well. Are there going to be environmental cues? Are there going to be people or things, not just gunshots, but things that you're going to run into that'll give away your position? I believe I saw a tweet by Tom Henderson recently that the map is going to have over 100 players in it at a time, and I have no idea how that's going to actually work, but hopefully it's not going to turn into something like Warzone 2 where everybody's just sprinting around the map. Hopefully there's a little bit more tact to the approaches. So the TLDR to finish up here, I expected a Hunt Showdown approach, but it sounds a lot more like Tarkov, and I think the main concern right now is how armor is going to work in the game. Again, you've got Chads running around with level 6 armor 2 weeks after the wipe and escape from Tarkov, with a bunch of little Timmies like myself trying to hop in and just getting smoked. I don't think that's very fun. So I think with a much simpler approach, it can be much more balanced. And I think that with the systems that I saw, at least in the beta, it's going to lead to a lot more freedom when it comes to what kind of weapons you use. It makes it so there's not one meta weapon that everybody's going to be using. So I'm excited to see that, and I'm excited to see how the storyline plays out. It'll be nice to actually have a story to progress so the rounds don't become some sort of competitive shooter every single time. There's a lot of other info hidden here in these 2 info drops, but again, this could all be subject to change or completely false information. We've got no idea until they release more information about the DMZ or until it actually gets here. That's about it for this here, gamers. Just wanted to give my thoughts and opinions and a little bit of insight. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and let me know if I've missed anything, maybe something that you find important. Definitely go give those things a read because, again, they're very easy to read. It's very quick. If you enjoyed the content, gamers, hit that like button as hard as you possibly can. And if you didn't like it, crush that dislike button because, well, it's still engagement, so I don't care. But the like button is the best way to support the channel so I can go full time here. Enjoy the rest of your day, gamers, and until the next one, be bold, be courageous, stay tactical.